the Indian Army and the troops foiled an infiltration bid by the Pakistani Border Action Team. It's imperative here that we understand what these Pakistani BAT teams are, a potent mix of regular Pakistan Army personnel, the SGG commandos, and of course you have mercenaries from Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, a dangerous and tricky setup. Meanwhile, this happened on the line of control against the Indian forces. According to the defense sources that we're picking up, the BAT, this Border Action Team, was involved in the attack that is suspected to have regular Pakistan Army troops, including their SSG commandos, and they work closely with the terrorists and the mercenaries and all these organizations. 2 Indian Army soldiers is what we're picking up, including a major rank officer, suffered serious injuries in a fierce gunfight between security forces and the infiltrators. All of this coming out of Kupwara district. Defense sources suggest that there was an attempt to behead Indian soldiers and mutilate their bodies. The exchange of fire took place on a forward post in Kamkari. This is the Macchil sector in Kupwara near the line of control. Defense officials have stated that the injured were evacuated from the location swiftly. One of the injured soldiers, unfortunately, has succumbed to those grievous injuries, has lost his life due to those injuries. And the encounter began in district's Kumkari area during an anti-terrorist operation based on proper intel. One Pakistani intruder, part and member of this border action team, has been killed, along with recovery of weapons, ammunition and warlike stores. The identification and affiliation of this Pakistani national that has been neutralized is being ascertained at this point in time. This is the second encounter in Kupwara in the last 3 days, ladies and gentlemen. After receiving information about the possible terrorist movements in the area, the army launched a search operation which led to this skirmish, and we've learnt of a BAT team, of which one member has been neutralized, albeit unfortunately we've lost a brave heart on our side of the divide as well. Several questions, from psychological warfare to what happens in the north of Pir Panjal. Can that be implemented in the south? Is there a difference on that particular front? This is happening just a day or two after India commemorated 25 years of the glorious Kargil Victory Day, ladies and gentlemen. And what's more is that September, the entire region is looking towards elections as well. What's the larger messaging that has gone out? For more on that, Major General Sanjay Mestan, defense and geopolitical expert, joins us on the broadcast here. General, always a pleasure to be speaking to you. Let's get the ball rolling here. I've mentioned those layers for the viewers. Let's peel them apart one by one, General. First and foremost, how are you looking at these developments? We've been tracking developments ever since morning. We earlier learnt about mutilation and beheading. That was a possibility. How are you reacting to these developments?
Kabir, see, firstly, I would like to highlight that along the line of control, such incidents, and I state from both sides, have been continuing and shall continue. Even we have carried out BAT actions, and the Pakistanis also have carried out BAT actions, and this has been going since last, I would say, 25, 30 years. So this is not a very uncommon feature, but yes, BAT actions in the line of control in 15 core zone had reduced considerably. In fact, 15 core zone, which also includes the valley, generally the things were stabilizing. However, you are aware there have been 2-3 incidents. One was, of course, in the depth area, quite close. That was about last year, and this time again, 2 incidents have happened in Kupwara sector. So what it implies is that they want to revive these activities all along the line of control. There have been a tremendous spurt of their activities along the line of control in the 16 core sector, when I say south of Pir Panjal ranges. So this is what has been the pattern now. Earlier, the focus was in the valley. Valley we had stabilized, but now their focus has shifted south of Pir Panjal. But very, very surprisingly, they have revived some activities in the valley sector, which also includes the line of control. And what I also want to highlight, that you have just stated, our elections are also due in September.
Absolutely.
So that probably is also one of the reasons to show to the world and to the Kashmiri population that we stand by you. But this will not last long. I think such kind of operation, and what have they achieved in the net achieved? See, they have also suffered casualty. We have also suffered casualty.
Right.
Have they changed the dynamics of the valley or have they changed the dynamics of J&K, Jammu and Kashmir since the last 3 decades? Nothing has changed. It shall not change. Kashmir is our part of India. Our armed forces, the local police, the intelligence network, the paramilitary forces, they will stabilize the situation. But yes, we have to accept it. These kind of incidents will happen. And I think in Indian Army should also be given the leeway, I repeat leeway, to be doing such bad actions along, and we have the capabilities. I must tell you, I've been in this sector, in Kupwara sector,
That's
and
right.
done some tenures in the other sectors also, south of Pir Panjal. So, having commanded my battalion south of Pir Panjal, and this area I had operated as a young major, I can tell you with confidence that the terrain permits us, even to us, and no Pakistani post can be 24 by 7 on stand 2. No one can be, because see, soldiers are deployed there depending whichever area it is, from two
General,
to
in
three
terms
years.
of giving a befitting reply, in terms of giving a befitting reply, I've been speaking to several of your counterparts since morning, and they're saying the reply has to be befitting. If they are taking this ceasefire for granted, then so should we. We should give them an answer back with all guns blazing.
No, very true. See, Pakistan can only be taught a lesson if they inflict one casualty. We should inflict 10 casualties. That should be our theory. That should be our practice. So that they get a very strong message. If they fire, along the line of control, some rounds of artillery, we should just do 10 times that. Because the quantum of fire, or the quantum of attack, or the quantum of their casualties will only turn the tables. Otherwise, if it is balanced out, then I think things are not going to make a much difference. We have to do everything 10 times. That should be the ratio. The government of India should define it. Let us do everything 10 times.
So, General,
Then they
if
will learn.
in terms of the swift movement and the swift mobilization of boots after this skirmish that came to light today in the morning, do you think we are putting our steps are in the right direction and in the right pace? Paratroops are deployed. Choppers started doing their search and cordon operations in Kupwara, and what we're also learning, we'll put those visuals across for the viewers as well, that in Riyasi, a thorough major combing operation has begun as well. People were saying in the morning, General, that this entire skirmish could also be a decoy to divert attention so that other infiltration bids can carry on across the LOC.
See, that has been their strategy. I will just give you one live example of Pakistan when I was, as a major again in south of Pir Panjal also, in the Punch Rajouri sector. One day they had such kind of information, and I do not know, our agencies at the top were fooled, literally the int agencies, that they stated that, they have got some kind of a huge camp in Pir Kalewa forest, which are between Rajouri and Punch. And the Pir Kalewa forest, they have got some underground camp, and, they're firing rubber bullets and everything. So lot of people from the line of control were pulled back. From various sectors, the line of control was thinned, and we were moved for here. For 10 days, we were doing operations there, and frankly, there was nothing. So Pakistan has that knack of, deceiving. This is, of course, one of the basic tactics and principles of warfare, deception. So this is also a deception, but let me tell you, deception is within the same areas. Now, supposing it is in the south of Pir Panjal range, so if they are doing something north of Pir Panjal, which they have done now in Kupwara sector, that perhaps is not going to be easy, because that over there we have a different dedicated force in the valley sector, and south of Pir Panjal we have got different dedicated force, and those forces generally continue to be in the same area. However, the deployment of troops have been thickened, which you rightly mentioned, in the south of Pir Panjal ranges, and we are doing combing operations. So they will continue to do some funny things at various places. We should not be surprised. Even along the IB sector in Samba, etc., they can again resort to some operation. Thus, to sum it up, I think they are activating the IB in the J&K sector and the entire LC. And this is where I think we should also go full throttle. Again, I highlight, we should do everything 10 times what they're doing.
Absolutely, General. Several questions that I wanted to take up one by one, of course, because you have the right kind of expertise to help the viewers understand it essentially. These launch pads that you're talking about, these jump pads that you're talking about, where these BATs carry out their training activities as well. Can you help the viewers understand what kind of tricky customers are these BATs? Because you've got mercenaries from Lashkar-e-Toiba, you've got Jaish-e-Mohammed, them in collusion with the Pakistani regulars, of course the SGG commandos as well. What kind of a mix is this? It sounds treacherous and dangerous to the common man.
There are 2-3 factors to this. Let us first understand the terrain. Now, I am specifically talking in the Jammu and Kashmir Valley area, where if I define right from Uri and to the area of this Macchil sector and beyond, this entire area, the line of control is varying between, I would say, 10,000 to 15,000 feet. In the Gurez Valley sector, it is also going up to 16,000 feet. Now, all this area, the tree line, when I highlight the tree line is generally up to 9,000 to 10,000 feet. Beyond that, especially above 11,000 feet, there is no tree line. So when the deployment is occurring, the most of the deployment is in the areas which are dominating and which again are along the valleys, etc. Because we have to hold the line of control in entirety. So therefore, certain of our areas are in little low-lying areas and along some of the elevated areas. So what I'm trying to say is that most of the deployment areas are also along the tree line or much below the tree line. So they are densely forested area. Visibility is very, very negligible. So the movement of anyone, including our own troops or their troops, is quite undetected. So that is point one. Now, point two is the line of control. Now, along the line of control, we have deployed all kinds of defensive mechanism, right from the barbed wires, etc., the concertina wire, and the underground sensors, so many night vision devices. There is a layer of these electronic devices and, of course, barbed wires, etc., to prevent these people coming across. And the third point is the troops. Now, you have just mentioned about the mix of SSG and the Jaish-e-Mohammed and all these terrorist activities. See, if I was a SSG, and I have been myself a commando instructor, but not from the para commandos, my both the sons are from the para SF. So what happens is, para SF units or para commandos generally would not like to function with someone, or even if they want to, they would like some of these terrorists to be associated with them, whom they will launch ahead. They will make them cross successfully, but the final operation would be launched by these terrorists. Now, why? The why is so that even if these terrorists are killed, the identification will only come out that he was a terrorist. So if a Pakistan soldier is caught or killed, then it is a clear violation of so many ethics and military aspects, that they will be exposed, that Pakistani soldiers are coming. This is exactly what they did in Kargil. They stated that they are, terrorists. Otherwise, on ground, they were their Northern Light Infantry and some of the regular troops. So this is their deception of using the SSG and the LET together. The Jaish
One Pakistani has been neutralized, General. One Pakistani has been neutralized. His identity and whereabouts are being ascertained. If this Pakistani happens to be a regular Pak Army bloke, what happens next then, General?
So what will happen, let me tell you, even if he's, let's assume a Pakistan SSG chap, let us assume. Firstly, there will be no identification with him which will prove it. Because, and most of them perhaps could be on contractual basis who have retired or who are motivated and who have left the SSG. So that there is total deniability, because Pakistan will always remain in a state of deniability. So some of these chaps could be retired, some of these chaps who could have, left the SSG prematurely, or some of them would have even left otherwise, because the pay, perks and privileges are much better in a terrorist organization than in the regular, because you are subject to a lot of discipline, and here there is no discipline. You can, in Pakistan terrorists, I know that, the women are used to motivate them. So the lifestyle is much different than for a regular SSG commando. So probably this person, even if he is a regular, his entire identification would have been removed because, we have some kind of identification that will not be there.
Hypothetically, General, that's a pertinent point. Pakistan will like to maintain its deniability. It seems to be the only thing that's working out for them.